You're listening to Bizarre Buffet, a podcast of all you can eat weird. I'm your host, Mark Torriello.
I'm Jen Wilson.
And I'm Mark Bluestein.
There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited.
When we first went in, one of the people said, "Who are you?" And Tex said, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business."
Hello.
Hey.
Hi there.
Fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a really good episode.
Well, speaking of fastening seatbelts.
Oh my God. So, Jen and I have a story for you.
We do. We have a really good story.
We do. All right, Jen, do you want to start it?
So, yeah, I guess I'll start it. So, I just purchased a new car today.
Yay! That's excitement music.
So, of course, I called Mark on my new Bluetooth phone.
I know, which sounds very impressively clear.
Apparently, I sound just like I do on Bizarre Buffet.
She does. She does.
And he told me to play some really great music. So
Yeah.
I was blasting When Doves Cry by Prince.
Absolutely.
And he got in the car, and I was like, let's go for a ride around the block. He's like, great. Mark's out walking Gonk.
And that would be me, the other Mark.
The other Mark.
And Gonk is our Shih Tzu.
Yes.
So we start walking. I mean, walking. We're not walking. We're driving.
Yeah, we're driving.
We're driving.
We're in a new
Okay.
beautiful car.
So we're driving in my car.
It's a
And-
lovely car.
It is.
Well, we'll get to that
I got to
part.
sit in the back seat. I loved it.
All right.
So go ahead, Mark.
All right. So I was like, oh, Mark is probably down the street. So we're driving. And I was
Because
like,
our plan was to pick Mark and Gonk up and
Yeah.
all drive home.
yes, because Mark and I live on our place is on a hill. So it's kind of like a pain in the ass to walk up it. You get tired easily. But
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's see if we can spot him. So Jen is driving, and I'm very distracted by her new car and how nice it is. And I look over, I was like, oh, wait. And so I'm observing this guy really quickly, and the hair looks like Mark. Now it's dark out, of course.
And walking a dog. And he goes, and Mark says, oh, great, look, there's Mark. So I roll the window down and I yell, get in.
And there was...
It was like an awkward pause, and I realized it wasn't Mark and it wasn't Gonk. It was like some random guy. And he was like, I'm good.
I know. And because I was wondering, I was like...
And then I was like, oh, sorry, wrong person.
Oh no, specifically she goes, that's not Mark. Then we sped away quickly. Because this poor man with his dog probably thought we were going to abduct him and do, weird things.
If you're out there listening, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, we're very sorry. Listen, it was dark. Your height was approximately his.
But
the
we
hair of
did
the dog.
But we did wind up finding the correct Mark
They
and
did
Gonk.
find me, but he should take it as a compliment if you guys thought he was me.
Absolutely.
And then we came in and had our traditional Chinese food.
We did.
And of course, we, in true Bizarre Buffet form, we also got horrible fortunes. Mark Torriello got the best, as
Yes,
always.
As
I know.
always.
He's just the...
Mine says, others appreciate your sensitivity.
Okay.
Well, I think that's nice.
I mean, it's
It's
very
nice,
basic.
but
It's to the
just-
point.
I want something that's like, good health is coming your way. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something juicy.
Yeah.
Something juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mark, what was yours?
Expect a hot date in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, expect
Something
a
like that.
fucking sexy little
Well,
McNugget.
mine, I thought mine was a nice connection to our topic, but
Should we save yours?
well, no, because we're gonna have our question
okay.
too. But mine says, "Ride your ambition to the skies."
Oh.
Well, a nice life-affirming fortune, whereas mine is the opposite. Okay, so mine is, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. Wow. Well,
So
that's
morbid.
a fucking ray of
I don't
goddamn.
like that one.
No, because it's basically like, hey, asshole, you better fucking not put off some shit, because if you die tomorrow and you're going to be mad about it in your dead world, like, what a fucking bummer.
Right.
I won't let you die.
Thank
Aw.
you. That's very
See,
sweet.
I need a man like that.
If we
Listen.
were on the Titanic and it sank and we were like Rose and Jack, I would allow you to share the piece of driftwood
Thank you.
with me.
All right. Well,
So, guys, about our topic. I feel like a lot of people, when they listen to our episode, they know what the topic is because of the title and like the
Right.
advertising.
Well, yeah,
so
of course.
clearly, it's about roller coasters.
Wow.
But does everyone have like a favorite ride? It doesn't have to be a roller coaster, but what's your favorite like ride or ride experience, or just something you can bring to the Bizarre Buffet amusement park?
unpopular opinion amongst the three of us, but I actually am a fan of Disney World. I enjoy going.
Yeah.
I like rides that tell a story.
Okay.
Okay? Like I'm not like one of those like thrill seekers. Like I need the highest roller coaster with the biggest drops. Like no, I like a good ride that tells a good story from start to fucking finish.
Wow, that sounds like an X.
So,
of
Like
mine.
it's a small world.
Yeah, it's a small
So
world. That was another
one
X.
of my favorite rides in Disney is probably one of the oldest rides that's there. It's called the Carousel of Progress. And you can find that in Tomorrowland. It actually was first shown at like the World's Fair. I forget when.
Oh. This
Years
is
ago.
a cool fact. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's literally this circular ride, and you go in and you sit in a theater, and it's these like there's this animatronic man like talking, and it's like the turn of the century, and all these things happen, and you like all these other animatronics like come up and stuff, and they're talking about like the turn of the century, and then they have this like song. And after like the little scene is over, you go in a circle to the next room, which is like a decade later.
Oh.
And then you go around and it's a decade later, and then it's supposed to take you to what's supposed to be today.
Is one of the animatronics Abraham Lincoln?
No.
Oh.
Actually though, funny story about that. When my dad and I went to Disney when I was a kid, one of those rides, Benjamin Franklin fell over, and they had to stop it. Like it was, I forget. It was in Epcot, and it was about like America and like the founding fathers, and it like I specifically remember Benjamin Franklin, like the animatronic is walking up these stairs and he fucking falls over.
Oh.
They had to stop like the show to fix Benjamin Franklin.
Oh God.
I think in one of our recent episodes we made a Benjamin Franklin reference.
We make a lot of references that always come around. We made a Titanic reference earlier that we've made many a times
Yeah.
too. So, what about you, Mark? That's my experience. I love a good just story.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, and the song that went with Carousel of Progress, it was "It's a great big beautiful tomorrow, shining at the end of every day." And it's like they would sing that after every fucking scene. It's great. It's one of my favorites.
Oh my God. What was my favorite ride? Well, I don't necessarily have a favorite ride, but I will regale you with the story of one time I went to Knott's Berry Farm in California, and we were waiting in line for some kind of fucking roller coaster or something. I remember it being fun, but there was this guy waiting in line with a kid who like cut the line, and I'm like 99% sure it was Oliver Stone.
Oh,
And that's my story.
Who's Oliver Stone?
Natural Born Killers,
Yeah.
the JFK movie,
Oh,
director.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Natural Born Killers. I just
JFK is a really good movie too.
look like
Oh, I love me some John Fitzgerald fucking.
they weren't entitled shit to cut in the line.
I know. There was a long fucking line.
Whoever
and he
that
just,
was.
Yeah, I'm like almost certain it was. But Elvira does her show at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes, she does,
Yeah.
but I haven't been.
Well, I would rather go to Spawn Ranch,
Me too.
right? That could be a fun field trip. Anyone who
Actually,
lives in that area.
it's part of a national park now. I think like the ranch isn't there anymore. It's
just the...
It's like hiking trails. Yeah, nothing exciting at Spawn Ranch.
I know you can still find a stone there in the desert where the Manson family took a quaint photo. We could go and recreate that.
You can go recreate it. We've recreated the pictures many a times.
We have. And then you know what we should totally do? We should get so high and go kill a bunch of rich people in the Hollywood Hills.
Oh my God. Like, and take peyote, right?
Yes.
Go into the desert. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow. And what about you, Mark? What's like your favorite ride?
Oh, I love roller coasters. I am a thrill seeker. I'm trying to think. I mean, I remember I almost flew out of this roller coaster called Rolling Thunder at Six Flags.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one that's in the dark?
No, that's Skull Mountain.
Oh, Skull Mountain. Okay,
Which
yeah.
is a shitty roller coaster. But Rolling Thunder, it's like an old rickety wooden one. I don't think it's there anymore.
No, I think it's...
Oh.
Or they might have changed the name of it.
Oh, they might have. But it was like, I was like really skinny at the time and I was in the back cart, and you have to have someone with you if you're in the back cart. So they had an employee sit with me on the ride, and then when we went over one of the hills, I flew up and he put his arm and threw me back in my seat.
It's so funny too, because like they tell you that if you really are a thrill seeker, like you want the back of the roller coaster. You want the last cart, not the first cart, because of like the pull.
Oh.
You experience more of the drop.
You experience more of the drops in the back than you would in the front.
Well, this other time I went on, oh God, what was it called? King Ka?
I actually never went on that.
Don't waste your time. It's so cheesy. Like I think it's the tallest in the world, or for like a few minutes it was the tallest in the world. But all it is that you just go straight up and then over like the hill and straight down. But when you go straight down, it twists, so you don't actually feel the drop. And I remember me and an old friend of mine, we went to Six Flags and we were all excited to go on this ride, and we were like nervous because it was like really treacherous looking. And as we were going down the hill, I look over at her and I put my like gay flipper hand out and I'm like, this isn't even fucking scary. And they take your picture on the ride. So when we looked at her picture, it's me going down the hill looking at her, looking disgruntled with my hand out.
I'll never forget. I was a freshman in high school. My dad and I played hooky from school. And it was the weekend that King Ka was about to open to the public. So when we got there, everybody was there for King Ka. So like people were waiting online for 10 hours for this fucking ride.
What? It's only like 2 seconds.
Like
too.
we would go on Nitro.
Oh, I love that one.
We would sit there and the guy would say, do you want to go again? We're like, yeah. Like, so it was like, we were literally riding the roller coasters over and over again because there was no wait. It was amazing. It was the best fucking day I've ever had at Six Flags.
Wow.
Oh.
Guys.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, if you haven't...
We're talking about roller coasters and rides because the topic of today's episode is roller coaster deaths. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So, should we get into it?
Oh
Should
my
we
God.
buckle up?
Let's buckle up
I
into
know you
this.
picked a couple of good ones. Actually,
Yes.
one is one that I've actually ridden.
Well, I can't wait to hear about your
Experience.
near-death experience on
Yes.
this
I
coaster.
love that so much.
But buckle up and make sure you fulfill the height requirement.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's chat. So I picked 3 different incidents with roller coasters to diversify and to show the true dangers of riding in a roller coaster. And the first one, I think it's really sad, it's really tragic, and really dark. But the roller coaster itself is like stunning.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. So the first roller coaster death took place on a coaster called the Mind Bender. And I'll give you a little background about it. This steel roller coaster was built in 1985. And the track design, it's in yellow and red. So it's like really graphic. It's really interesting looking. And it sits in indoor theme park that's like in a mall in Canada. It's in the West Edmonton Mall, which I guess it's in Alberta, Canada. So hey, Canada, if you're listening.
Hi, Canada. We actually,
Canada.
our second highest listenership is in Canada. So,
Oh, so I better not fuck this up.
yes, hello, Canada.
Pressure's on.
We're thinking of you.
So it's in an indoor like theme park, which I think is in a mall. Just a little other background. The roller coaster was constructed by a German engineering company called Schwarzkopf.
Das Roller Coaster.
Schwarzkopf.
It looks like Schwarzkopf.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Schwarzkopf.
Jen's the cultured one. I'm German and I should know better.
Newly German.
Newly German. And the highest drop is 145 feet tall, making it, at the time when it was built, one of the highest steel roller coasters in the world. And the top speed it went at is 45 miles per hour.
That sounds pretty fast.
It does.
It is, but now in like comparisons like King Ka, you have like drops that are probably like 250, 300 and go at 80 miles an hour. So, you know, I think that the industry has come quite a long ways.
Yeah.
And this roller coaster offers 3 loop inversions, and the ride is about 1 minute and 13 seconds long. The time it was built, the trains consisted of 3 cars, which sat 4 people at a time. So it'd be like 12 people per train. And the safety features was a simple lap bar designed to keep you in place.
Okay, so it's very simple.
Very simple. I'm surprised that something that has a steep drop and multiple loops would have just like a...
Yeah.
Well, it's probably like how in the 70s, like, I mean, when did seatbelts in cars become popular? not till later on. So maybe that was part of the thing.
Well, now that we know about like the design and layout of this beautiful roller coaster, let's talk about what happened. So June 14th, 1986, a tragic accident occurred on the Mindbender roller coaster, which permanently changed the theme park industry. This incident is one of the most infamous roller coaster tragedies to date. And even like 30 years after, it's still talked about.
Wow.
So the evening of the incident, ride operators noticed a very unusual noise coming from the ride. So following protocol, they decided to call maintenance, and they were just like, hey, we hear this like weird rattling noise, check it out. So they temporarily closed the roller coaster. Maintenance took a look. They had the train go on the ride without any passengers, and they were like, well, we don't hear anything, so it must be fine.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay. So they put ride passengers back on the roller coaster, and it started making the noise again. So they were like, oh shit, it's making the noise. Let's call maintenance again. They call maintenance, and again, they test the train, and they don't hear the noise, and they're just chalking it up to the fact that, okay, well, maybe there's passengers on it, and it's making that noise because of the weight. We don't think it's a big deal. Well,
God.
clearly,
Clearly, that's not the case.
clearly they were wrong. So they reopened the roller coaster, and the troubled train, which was the yellow train, you know, it was making that noise, and they ran it through the roller coaster with passengers on it a few times, and it seemed normal. But upon one of these cycles, in the last cycle it went through, when it reached the final hill before entering the third loop, the left wheel assembly on the fourth car, which was the last car, it completely detached.
Whoops.
God.
So it's like kind of like that Final Destination movie where like just roller
Freak
coasters.
accident.
Listen, I
Accident.
have to tell you, like, after seeing the Final Destination movies, my whole outlook on just life in general, like, fucking hate planes. Like that first scene when they're going to Paris and the plane just explodes during takeoff.
Oh, yeah.
And then the roller coaster. I'm like, I
Well-
can't do the things that I love anymore because of Final Destination.
Final Destination fucked everything up.
I know, it
Well,
really did.
escalators, everything.
Yeah, well, I have an interesting
dentist.
I have an interesting story to kind of bounce off of this because it makes sense with the story that Mark is telling. So, and I meant to mention this story in an episode that we did about the Tacoma Narrows Bridge that fell apart. But very similar to this roller coaster, I remember years ago, myself and our friend Lee, we were driving in what was my first car, and there was this weird noise. And I remember Lee had pointed it out, and he was like, the car's making a weird noise. And I was like, oh, like these people with the roller coaster. They're like, it's probably nothing. Like, it's just whatever. It's a cart. It has metal. It has people.
Yeah.
And then upon our drive back home, my car just suddenly went whoop boom on the bridge. And as soon as I had a moment to realize, I was like, okay, the fucking tire blew out. I was like, all right, this sucks, but like, it's just the tire.
Right.
So I slow down, I come to a stop because there's sparks coming off my car, and I look in my rearview mirror, and my tire with the rim is coming downhill and hits the back of my car, which was a 2-seater with like no trunk, so it was terrifying.
God.
Flew up, took off the side mirror on his side, the passenger side. So I thought that was a fun little anecdote to go with this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very similar thing. The wheel probably came off its
Yeah.
axle and everything like that.
Yeah.
And what happened with this is I guess like the wheels came off, or like the axle completely ripped off. I don't build these things, so I don't really know like the construction
It
of it.
sounds about
but
right.
Something in the undercarriage
Yeah.
went awry. So when the wheels ripped off, on the last train, it was being dragged down the track with full speed.
Oh, shit.
And it was the last one,
Oh
so
my
it was
God.
getting yanked by the front carts. So what ended up happening is that once it made it towards the third and final loop, and meanwhile, like the passengers are like being dragged down, like this entire thing. Okay, so as this last car is being dragged around at like full speed and the bottom rips out, it also ripped out the safety feature, causing the safety belt, or like the seatbelt, to undo and unlock.
Oh, shit.
Oh my God.
So that threw all 4 of the passengers off completely. From the ride as it was going. So as it made its way up the final loop, it couldn't complete its loop, so it went backwards and crashed into a like concrete pillar.
Oh.
my God. Oh.
The fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. When the 4 passengers were thrown out, I can tell you, it says after the passengers were thrown off the ride onto a concrete floor from 25 feet.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So they were thrown onto the concrete from 25 feet up, going 30 miles per hour.
Oh, God.
And, it just wreaked havoc all over the place. And then all the passengers that were actually on the entire ride, they were injured too from the collision of the back cart slamming into the front ones. And 3 out of the 4 passengers that were on the ride that got ejected had passed away. One of them, the one that survived, his name is Rod Chaco. He was rushed to the hospital, and he just had a plethora of issues. He had 2 broken legs. He had broken ribs, a punctured lung, a lot of other things that I can go on about. He's still alive today. He clearly suffers from severe PTSD.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And, even though the incident occurred 30 years ago, he's still reliving the
Oh my God,
the
that's
tragedy.
something that fucking will haunt you forever.
I'm assuming he has never seen a Final Destination film.
Probably not. Or he has, and it's made his PTSD even worse.
Worse. God.
Well, so he like continues to live a normal life. I think he's got like a family and everything. He claims that he won't have that closure until the theme park places a memorial for the victims of the tragic
They
incident.
haven't fucking done that yet?
No, they have not.
What the fuck?
And I think that's pretty shitty.
Where is this? Busch Gardens?
No, this is
That's later on.
that
Okay.
that mall in
Alberta.
In
Listen, Canada.
Canada.
All right, we love you for listening,
the song from South Park movie, Blame Canada.
blame Canada. Listen, Canada. Listen, you're 2% of our listeners at this point. We love you, but like, I don't know, go to that mall. Tell them to like, I don't know, get a plaque or, I don't know, donate
Or
sodas.
do like a guerrilla plaque, like guerrilla warfare, like go and put plaques there.
Yeah.
And enforce them.
Donate one to them, and then they'll feel too
And
awkward to get
put
rid
our
of it.
names on it too.
Yes, in memoriam and honor.
The one and only survivor from the last card, he is like kind of hell-bent on making sure that they put a plaque there. And it's so weird because he received a settlement from the mall, but he's like, I'm famous, but I'm not rich. So I guess the settlement.
What does that mean?
I think it was like a shitty.
Yeah, it was probably a really shitty settlement.
But also the mall gives him free passes to all their attractions.
Oh, what a great... Wow. Things that he's never going to use. So it's a useless
Never
fucking...
want to go to again.
Wow.
And of course, because it was such a big tragedy, they had to do like an investigation. There was a 200-page report. Unfortunately, the report doesn't really exist much today. So it's kind of like in the iCloud. Is there something else? You know, are they trying to hide something?
Right.
And
Yeah, well, with things like that, you would imagine that they're trying to hide as much as possible because clearly there was some sort of negligence on the part of the people. I mean, I don't know how one figures the, layout of a roller coaster in a mall or whose responsibility. I would assume it's the responsibility of the mall since it's on their property. But yeah, that sounds like a maintenance issue, which is a liability.
Yeah.
So
when they did an investigation about it, they said that it was just poor quality control from the engineering company because when the roller coaster was being built, the engineering company was going bankrupt. Also, because it was a German engineering company, the operations manuals were not fully and properly translated to English from German. So it's like an
I'm
IKEA
sorry, I
catalog.
shouldn't be laughing, but like really, they're like, well, I don't know. Why don't you enlist somebody who can translate German then, or translate your fucking your safety manuals, you bunch of idiots.
And then when they continued to investigate, they were like, oh shit, all of the wheel axles and all of the carts are loose. And, and potentially like
Cool.
like this was like a ticking time bomb. Like this was waiting to happen. So if it didn't happen that day, it was going to happen another day to maybe one of the other carts. So that's what it was. And from the aftermath of that,
Is that roller coaster still there?
it is. And it still looks exactly the same.
All right, how many of you want us to ride it? Do a poll, leave a
wanna
comment when this comes out.
Well, if you go onto YouTube, you can actually watch roller coaster videos. And it's like POV, they'll wear like a GoPro, and someone wore a GoPro on the Mindbender. So you can ride it if you want to have that experience. And it's the third loop where kind of shit went like haywire. So right before the third loop, that's where the people were rejected. So if you're morbid...
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I mean, how cool is that, right? It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. On with the show.
Watch.
I wonder if Tiffany was doing her mall tour when that happened. I think we're alone now.
Was she tall enough to ride?
I don't know. Pick it up, Jen. There doesn't seem to be any roller coaster.
Oh my god. think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be
Anyone around?
I can't do the next part. It's too high.
I think we're alone now. Oh,
No,
wait,
it's
the children behave.
I knew Jen could do it. I was waiting. I was like, Jen, you're the only one who can do that here.
All right, well,
So the aftermath is
Yeah.
now they make roller coasters safer, or in theory.
or
theory.
until next time.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody can, clue us in on what his settlement amount was, it's none of my business or anyone's. However,
But we'd like to know.
but we'd like to know because it's kind of public knowledge because it
And
was a
we're
public
fucking
event.
nosy.
We are fucking nosy, and it's okay. And also, it's a stranger, so like same rules don't apply.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, are we ready for our second thrill ride?
Oh my god, I'm so ready to go on this next fucking roller coaster. Oh my god, I'm so ready for it.
Okay. All right, buckle up.
Okay, I'm strapped
And-
in real tight.
On this one, you most definitely need to fit the height requirement because that's part of the issue of what happened
But you were
here.
going to
Shit.
say you have to wear a diaper.
Oh well.
That as well.
We're not sponsored by Crinkles yet, but Crinkles sponsor it.
And also, if any of you out there are an adult baby, just
I know. How many times are you going to
We've
listen
been
to us say this
trying.
before
we
somebody
want
helps
a
us?
fucking adult baby on this show.
That's right. We only have one episode advertisement for you all. We're trying to do God's work, but it's hard out here.
Okay, so height requirement.
Okay, so the second ride that we're going to ride is called Ride of Steel, which I'm
Let me guess,
assuming...
it's something to do with Superman?
I think so. I don't follow this superhero shit.
well,
so
because
he's
Man of
he's
Steel.
known as the Man of Steel.
Hmm.
And I know, like, a lot of times Six Flags at least does, like, a lot of, like,
superhero.
DC themed roller coasters. Because I know the one in New Jersey, there's a Superman one. Mm-hmm. There's a Riddler ride, I think.
There's
when
a
I went,
Batman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Batman rides.
Batman,
on that.
Robin, Batman.
Chiller. I think that's
Fucking,
called.
yeah, Chiller. But
The Chiller.
but the Batman ride, I just will never
there
forget.
Is there a penguin one?
No, but I'll never forget. Speaking of Penguin, fucking when you're waiting online for that Batman ride in Six Flags, they just play "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal on fucking repeat.
You'll hear it like 20 times.
Baby, I compare you to a kiss on a rose on a grave.
This roller coaster's gonna kill you. Oh yeah.
Now that you're locked in my seat.
We're gonna move on back
I'm gonna ride this
to the
seal.
Ride of
So,
Steel.
yeah,
So,
Superman.
I'm assuming it's got to be a Superman theme, and
Well, if
it's
you look
also
at the
red
colors,
and blue.
yeah, exactly. If you look at the colors, it's the color of Superman.
All right, so let's just talk about the ride. Okay, so it's called Ride of Steel. It's located at a Six Flags Great Adventure in Darien Lake, which is in Darien, New York. Built in May of 1990. This roller coaster cost $12 million to make. It's interesting because the way that they market roller coasters is very similar to how they market movies. So if a film is, let's just say they make a movie and it costs $15 million and they want to make $50 million from it. So they kind of give it like a goal, the same thing. So roller coasters, they'll be like, okay, we're going to invest $10 million in this roller coaster. In the summer that it opens, we need to see $30 million in revenue.
Right.
Okay.
And if they don't make the amount, it's considered like a flop.
And that's when the quality of the roller coaster maintenance goes down, and that's when people die.
Or they like change the theme. They'll like paint it a different color. So it'll be like red and they'll paint it green and they'll be like, oh, it's green like the Green Lantern.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's
But so
it's
yeah.
Snake Kingdom now.
So it costs $12 million to make. The roller coaster manufacturer is called Intamin.
Oh.
And
Hello.
Into men.
Is that a joke? I'm just curious.
okay, so to describe the coaster, it's red and blue like Superman. The tallest drop is 208 feet, which is about 20 stories.
That's fucking high.
And this one reaches a maximum speed of 73 miles per hour.
Oh my God.
So she's a fast ride,
Like double the amount, triple the
Yeah.
amount of Mindbender.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that mind bending?
That is.
And And there's no inversions, but there's like 5 airtime hills, and it's a steel roller coaster. And in 1999, May 16th, was the first incident that happened on this ride. And it was shortly after opening. A passenger was thrown from the train as the ride reached one of the final hills. Luckily, they only suffered from minor injuries.
Like, we're still working out the kinks.
Totally.
Sorry.
God.
Here's a snow cone, you loser.
Scary. Okay.
It is.
So let's talk about like the death incident, because we are Bizarre Buffet, and
Yeah, give me the morbid.
we want the morbid stuff. Okay.
Yeah, fuck the history. We
Yeah,
want the morbid.
we want
the
fucking
we want the
1990
morbid
shit.
stuff. Okay, so this is sad and tragic, but it also opens up a lot of questions that are philosophical. So the victim of this accident, his name was James Hackemer. James was actually an Iraq war veteran who was left disabled after his second Iraq tour in March 2008, where his vehicle hit an explosive device. The attack inflicted several injuries on him, which includes the loss of both of his legs, severe severe blood loss, brain injuries leading to several strokes.
What the fuck?
He was in a coma for 6 weeks, and he had a very long, difficult period of rehabilitation, but he was able to continue on with his life and to completely move forward. And the sad thing is that in part of his moving forward and getting to live his life like normal, him and his family took a trip to Six Flags Darien Lake, where his life came to an end. And according to his sister Jody, she said he was determined to ride every single roller coaster.
That's depressing. Like
God.
that's oh my god. Like
I know.
What a fucking... Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so at 5:30 that evening, he boarded on the Ride of Steel roller coaster. He sat in the front car, and upon riding, he was ejected from his seat, falling 150 feet
I feel like
to his death.
I like vaguely remember this happening.
It sounds familiar.
This sounds really familiar.
I feel like every summer there's like one incident that like you talk about and then you forget about it. You
Well,
know?
like I remember like that shit used to go down all the time in the summer at the Meadowlands Fair because people would like put the roller coasters together by hand. And I remember there was like one of those like Crazy Mouse rides, like the cart fell over.
yeah.
Oh my god. Aren't the Crazy Mouse rides like notorious for fucking accidents?
Oh, absolutely, because of the sharp turns.
I
But
know. And there was one in Atlantic City that was like right on the end of the pier, because I used to go to Atlantic City when I was young. It was our shore. And it was fucking frightening.
my
'cause-
fear used to be that you were going to go over into the ocean.
Yes. Yes.
That's how they get ya.
So he
Crazy
fell
Mouse.
out.
So yeah, he fell out of the ride. He fell. It was the second hill, and those hills are fucking steep, as you can see in that picture.
And we can
So-
see a POV video of this one too if we want.
Yep, you absolutely can. So he fell 150 feet to his death on the second hill.
Oh my god.
The restraints consisted of both a seatbelt and a lap bar. And when he fell off, the ride was at 50 miles per hour.
Now I have a question
Yes.
before we like move ahead. So I know that you mentioned that he lost both of his legs. So my question is, did he have prosthetic legs?
No, he did not.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And
Would that have affected the seatbelt
Well,
apparatus?
yes. Okay, so that's like the topic of discussion. Okay, so basically, after he died on the ride or off the ride, because he was like ejected from it.
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
yeah.
no, and that-
it's a
when-
very good question.
When I heard about this story and read through it, I thought the same thing, and I was like, well, did he have prosthetic legs, or did he not have his legs and he fucking flew out? Like, I thought the same thing too, and I think our listeners are probably scratching their heads.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh, this is a real mind bender.
Yeah, scratching their heads and legs.
So when the state investigated, state investigation faulted operator error as the cause of the accident. And it was not necessarily an issue of the ride itself, but the fact that he was not given a proper height check, which he fell 7 inches short of the 54-inch requirement for the ride.
Oh my God. Okay, it's all coming together now.
Yeah.
Okay, because and now I'm saying this in all seriousness. So his actual height, because he didn't have legs,
Correct.
Yeah.
was shorter.
Was shorter.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now that opens up a lot of questions because you're like, well, couldn't the ride operator clearly see that he didn't have two functioning legs?
The first and this other incident, the first one happened on one of the final hills. So it looks like they didn't happen in the same
Like at the same point.
spot,
Yeah.
Right.
where it seems like sometimes it happens in the same spot.
Well, it makes you wonder as to whether or not like height requirement things are specific. Like, okay, there's only one part of one of the drops where it could impact somebody who's under a certain height. So I'd be curious to know that. But, you know, I'm not a,
Well, like think when you go down the hill and back up, you normally lift out of your seat
Yes.
a little bit. Like that happened to me on Rolling Thunder, where like the person next to me had to like shove me back in the seat.
yeah.
And I think it's a similar situation for him, but because of his lack of height, because of his lack of legs,
Yeah.
he flew out. Also, I do believe he was missing part of his hip as well from that. So yeah, but basically, after like the investigation of all of this, you know, the state chalked it up to, you know, this is clearly an issue of negligence. The way that it was broken down was that the victim of the tragedy was 35% responsible, and then the theme park was 65% responsible for this. But
was his family on this ride with him?
I think his nephew was probably like in his late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
You know, I don't know too much about like the family details, but you know, if you were like the ride operator in this case, just like hypothetical, you know, what would you do in the case if you were the ride operator, if you saw this guy without legs trying to get onto a roller coaster,
Okay.
like what would you do?
Can we role play real quick? Just
Yeah.
for a fun
All right,
element.
so
All
you
right,
want me to-
Jen.
of course.
You're the ride operator.
All right. Hi, and welcome to Ride a Steal. My name is Jen. I am your ride operator today. Please step right up. Next guest.
Hi, Jen. My name is Mark, and as you can see, I can't step right up. I'm in a wheelchair.
Mark, I'm so sorry, and I know this is really unfortunate, and I know that you probably waited online a really long time to get to the front.
I did.
And I'm really sorry, but due to your height, we can't allow you on this ride. I mean, I know that like probably with your legs, you're probably about 5'6", 5'7", but
I'm still too short. I know.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But you know what? I can give you a refund for your tickets to the Six Flags today.
I think that'd be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Refund.
Oh,
Yes,
but look.
I
but
agree
there
with
you go.
But Mark,
there you
I do
go.
agree. A refund would probably make the
I think
most
that'd
sense.
be
Yeah,
the nice
or like-
thing to do.
Yeah, but like I wanted to do this like little example as a way that like somebody could take an extra moment to actually like assess the situation
Right.
and be polite about it, even though we have morbid senses of humor, you know?
Well, there's like multiple stories about this circumstance. You know, allegedly the family asked guest services which rides he could ride on, and allegedly guest services said all of them. It's also been said that there are signs posted on the ride stating that you do in fact need both of your legs, and it's been also stated that he ignored those signs. And also I heard that he was given a pamphlet with theme park safety guidelines for disabled people, which he
Which
just
makes sense.
Which makes sense, but he chose not to take it. Now, I'm not saying this is fact. Like, this is just like the other side of the story
Right.
that I've found in research.
Well,
so,
and I mean, how many times in life, right, have like like regardless of your age, but like there's been a scenario where you're like, okay, I know I should do this, but I'm not going to. Right. So I mean, I feel like that's kind of just like human nature, regardless of, if you're disabled or not.
Right.
Well, he was probably like, I survived Iraq.
Yeah, I can survive this
I can
roller
survive this
coaster.
fucking roller coaster.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's the story with the Ride of Steel. Like, if I was in his situation, I think I'd be very cautious.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be very paranoid.
Yeah, I mean, I would be.
All right, so let's talk about our third roller coaster death. This one's a little more funny.
Oh, I hope this one's real good.
All right, so number 3 and our last one for our episode, it's called Apollo's Chariot. And I think Jen Wilson wrote on it.
I have. And for all of you listeners out there, if you are familiar with Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, just for reference, it's the same manufacturer. It's literally the same roller coaster as Nitro, just a different name, a different color, and in a different theme park.
Different theme.
Literally the same roller coaster. Play by play.
I'm glad that you survived.
I did.
This one.
Actually, like that's one of the most terrifying roller coasters I've been on too, because of the lap band. That's all you have.
Yeah. You're like,
And your legs dangle. So it's like I always get scared that first initial drop because it's a deep drop. You're literally going down like a straight line.
Yeah.
You really feel like there's a split second that you're gonna fall out.
Yeah, Mark and I went on a roller coaster in Vegas at the, what was it, the Paris Hotel?
no, it was I think it's called New York,
Yeah.
Big Apple.
Let me tell you something. That fucking thing. I was
Oh,
like,
so fun.
I was like, we're probably gonna die on this.
But it definitely
It was fun
is.
though.
I mean, if you're a thrill seeker, it's a great roller coaster, but
Yeah.
there's that split second every single time I would ride that I was like, oh my God, I'm
You
gonna
gonna
die. Yeah.
I believe it.
Well, Apollo's Chariot opened March 30th, 1999 at Busch Gardens, Virginia. And it's a steel coaster, like you said, consisting of a 210-foot drop and 8 airtime hills.
Yeah, the hills are fun. Like the
Yeah.
littler hills, I
Yeah.
love.
They're like, whoop, whoop.
But that really deep fucking drop is like, holy shit.
Yeah, the first one's scary.
Yeah.
And so this steel coaster goes at a top speed of 73 miles per hour, and it lasts for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Each train, I'm bringing up the amount of people on the train because it's hilarious later on down the line, but each train sits 36 riders with the lap bar that you mentioned, Jen, for security measures. And
That your feet dangle. They don't touch the ground.
and the roller coaster is situated next to a bunch of these small ponds where the drops create this illusion that you're going to plummet into the water.
Oh.
This is also, just so you know, it's located in the Italy section of Busch Gardens.
Okay.
There's different countries. So,
Oh. What makes this one Italian?
well, what do you think? Chariots?
And Apollo.
Oh, okay.
Well, Apollo's Greek, but
Apparently.
Does the
I don't
roller
know
coaster
anything.
have a cute Italian accent?
no, but
It's okay. I'm just curious.
no, not at all.
That's okay.
Well, when this very Italian roller coaster opened up, the theme park was like, ooh, let's do something creative and promote the roller coaster. So the PR teams all got together with the roller coaster.
Who can we get that's
And
cheap
who
enough?
could they get that they could afford?
Oh, exactly.
drum
We're
roll.
working on it now.
So, since the ride is called Apollo's Chariot, it has this whole Greek god theme. So, in promoting the new roller coaster at the theme park, Busch Gardens came up with Fabio.
Oh, fucking Fabio.
Fabio.
Oh, God. Fabio.
They picked Fabio due to the fact that he is on many romance book covers that our moms probably read and commercials.
The commercials.
I can't believe it's not Fabio.
And he kind of has that like Greek god kind of look. He's got the long flowy hair. He's all muscular. Well, aside from having Fabio ride the roller coaster as part of this like PR moment, they decided to fill the roller coaster train with 35 women wearing white robes and fake laurel wreaths like
my God.
Greek goddesses.
Oh my God.
However, if you look at I have a picture of Fabio on the roller coaster. He is not wearing anything Greek god like. He's just wearing a blue button-down shirt.
Yes, his blonde highlights have been freshly done for his new speaking engagement, which is not speaking. He's on a roller coaster.
Can we use this picture as like the fucking promo for this episode?
Absolutely.
I think it should be.
Yeah, so he's literally in this like big ass train of
36
36 Greek
women,
goddesses
Greek goddesses
This
wearing
picture.
white robes. White.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the tragedy and the death that happened on this roller coaster.
Oh, God.
Okay,
Here
so
we go.
on the tragic day on March 30th, 1999, during the Fabio promotion of the new coaster, death decided to strike on this roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
As the train full of Fabio and alleged Greek goddesses
Legend.
descended the first drop at 205 feet, an innocent goose that was flying mid-air had collided with Fabio's face.
Oh, the poor goose.
I know, really. That face is not, you know.
As the goose hit Fabio's face, or as
Bobby's a murderer.
or as Fabio's face hit the goose during this PR promotion, the goose literally it exploded. Okay.
Well, you know something? If I was a PR consultant for this fucking theme park or whatever, I'd be like, this is great. This is good.
It's entertainment.
Oh, yeah. You got your money's worth here, baby.
So like once his face and the goose collide and like the goose or the bird explodes, blood, feathers, and feces feces
Fecal matter.
literally sprayed all over Fabio's face and on the 35 Greek goddesses. Now, this happened on
Fabio's face.
on the first drop, meaning that there was like a whole 2 minutes of the ride where they had to
They were covered in shit, blood, and feathers.
and yes,
And
so
duck
they
meat.
had to finish the duration of the ride.
That's hilarious.
Covered in bird vermin.
oh my God.
You know, it's like it's just interesting.
It's like he's gonna need some. I can't believe it's not butter
Well,
to get that shit off his face.
They had to like ride this ride knowing that when they get to the end, there's like
There's
photographers.
photographers about to take pictures.
Oh God, those photographers probably got so much money for those photos.
Yeah. So
But the women on either side of Fabio like look like they're trying to find like a lightheartedness in this.
Oh yeah. Well, the one.
Is like laughing and
yeah.
holding his shoulder. Like,
Yeah,
are you okay?
she's like, yeah, exactly. She's like, oh my God, can you believe that happened? And the one behind him looks like she's shell shocked. Like you can kind of tell from this blurry image that she has blood spatter, and she's making a very kind of face.
the blonde to the right of him, I think she's just taking advantage of the fact that she can rub his bicep
Oh,
Oh, that too.
because she looks very jazzed.
she does look very jazzed.
So basically, they pull up to like the area where you get on and off the rides, covered in like blood, and everyone is like, "Whoa, what happened here?"
What happened?
You know, and everyone was puzzled, and you know. Till this day, we still remember the bird that was the victim of this roller coaster
Poor
tragedy.
Goosey.
Is there a plaque for the bird?
I don't know, but I feel like we should have one for the bird at Apollo's Chariot.
Okay, all right. Listen.
Anyone from Virginia that's listening right
Yes.
now, please, we ask you to go to Busch Gardens and
Yes.
just
Please.
like our Canadian friends.
Yeah, we requested something of them. Now we're requesting something of you. And this is more lighthearted, so you might have more traction.
You know, a nice little plaque, perhaps a photo. I don't think you can get a photo of the original one, but like I'm sure you could do like Getty images.
Or you can even just get the picture of Fabio splattered in the
Yeah.
goose's blood.
Oh my god!
Well-
I wonder what Fabio thinks of all this.
Yeah, like whatever happened. Like, was there any injuries from like
I'm more.
a goose that's flying directly into his face and exploding?
Yeah, I mean his face looks a little.
You must get some sort of whiplash.
I'm sure that I'm sure it hurt. So after the incident, you know, a lot of people were concerned. They were like, oh my God, is Fabio's face going to be okay? His face was fine. No permanent damage. He did have a cut and some swelling. Fabio claims the bird hit him, and that
Of course he
that the bird hit him with such blunt force that the blood on his face that you see in the photos is actually blood from the bird. And also
Not from him.
he is
It's good to know.
Fabio did publicly speak out about theme park safety after his incident.
He's like, this bird.
And he wants them to make theme park rides safer. And as a result, on Apollo's Chariot, around the areas where the little ponds are, because that's where, you know, the goose suspected to have lived.
Do they give you bread to throw off to the car?
No, they have like a net.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because in case somebody falls out, you land in the fucking
No,
net.
it's not fuck people. It's for the birds not suiciding themselves.
But
Okay.
Fabio is not the only person this has happened to.
Oh,
This
Jesus
is
God.
actually a very,
Are you
very
fucking kidding me?
No, it's a very common thing that happens on roller coasters all over the world. Birds are plummeting into people's faces on
Oh my
rides.
goodness.
Birds are smacking into your local D-list celebrities on roller coasters everywhere.
And I mean, that's it. That concludes the deaths by roller coasters.
Man, that was a lot to take in.
I know. To be on that roller coaster with Fabio that day,
And to be
Man.
covered in feces and blood and goose feathers.
I would have been like, Fabio attacked me. No.
I think the bird has a lawsuit.
I think he does. The bird has family members that are gonna fucking take this Busch Garden shit to the Supreme Court. Sue Fabio. He's bad for geese.
Yeah.
Bad for geese, Fabio.
Yeah, but
Well, this was a very
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
I hope it was a thrill ride.
Oh yes, one could say.
One could say. And everyone listening, thank you, and be safe on
Yes.
these theme park
Yes.
rides.
While you're being safe, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Bizarre Buffet.
While you're and do it from the roller coaster.
Yeah, from the roller coaster.
Please. While you're on it, going around those loops, please follow us on Instagram. We are at Bizarre Buffet. If you're feeling in the giving spirit, you can find us on patreon.com/you guessed it, Bizarre Buffet. Not you guessed it, just Bizarre Buffet. We're also on Facebook, right?
Bizarre Buffet.
Bizarre Buffet.
That's fucking right.
Yeah.
So, do like Fabio, give PSAs about roller coasters, you know, inhale a few geese feathers, and God bless you.
Yeah, and with that being said, I'm Busch Gardens.
I'm the bird that flew into Fabio's face.
Oh, and I'm Fabio.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Sorry about your face.
It's okay.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Until next
Bye.
time. Goodbye.